Hi, this is Dave Doran, head football coach, North Carolina State Wolfpack. I want to welcome everybody to 2018 KU Spring Football Game. Hope y'all enjoy us playing today. Go Pack!
On a cold and rainy day in Raleigh, that won't keep the football away. We're all set for the 2018 KU Spring Game here on the ACC Network Extra. Hello, everybody. We welcome you inside the booth here at Carter-Finley Stadium. I'm Andrew Sanders alongside Brandon Bishop. Delighted to have you on board for what should be our first glimpse at the 2018 football team for NC State. And it's been a while. We've missed football since December.
Yeah, coming off a big bowl victory down in El Paso for the Sun Bowl. A glimpse today to see what the 2018 version of the Wolfpack have in store. Tons of talent back on both sides of the ball, so excited to see some live action today.
Absolutely, and we're going to bring a ton of live action. We're going to see, of course, an experienced wide receiver core, Kelvin Harmon, Steph Lewis back, of course, Ryan Finley. Some new faces on defense, but still plenty of talent, and some veterans there as well. And we'll also have our third member of the broadcast team, Taylor Cunningham.
That's right. Thank you so much, Andrew. And down here on the sideline, I'm going to bring lots of great interviews talking with some of the current and former players, the coaches as well. Some of those names expected to be here today: Jalen Samuels, BJ Hill. And then we also have some features that we'll be sharing with you, the major storylines coming into this 2018 season, talking about the offensive line, what it means to be part of the one pack, one goal, and lots of great things down here. But guys, I'm just really trying to stay dry too on this rainy day.
Good luck with that. It's going to be tough. We'll be right back. The 2018 KU Spring Game is next. Welcome back, everybody, to the 2018 KU Spring Game with Brandon Bishop. My name is Andrew Sanders. We are just about set for kickoff here. Kyle Bambard just about ready to go as they line everybody up. Of course, it's going to be not necessarily a game. I know it's called the Spring Game. More of a scrimmage. It's going to be offense versus defense. We'll get into that a little bit as the broadcast goes along. But basically, the points will be scored based on which end zone they're scored in. And it will not. It's not a red versus white that you might have seen in the past. Here's Bambard's kickoff. Steph Lewis getting some work as a returner here in the spring and breaks it over the 25. New number for him. He got that coveted #1 uniform. Of course, Jalen Samuels had it. It's quite an honor to wear that jersey. That's
a huge honor. You see a lot of programs, they take those single digits very seriously. And Coach Doran's decided that #1 is going to be a honor for a senior that's deserved it. So really glad to see Steph wearing that this year. We expect some big things from him. Hopefully both on offense and in special teams.
First snap of the spring game, of course, Ryan Finley under center and drops a dime. Dropped by Jacoby Myers. Boy, he put it on the spot here. So we get a look at the 2017 recap. This team won 9 games, 6 in the ACC, tying a school record there, and finished with some positive momentum in the Sun Bowl.
First time in 6-7 years since my sophomore year that 9 games has been achieved. I think the only 6 times in school history that the Wolfpack has hit that mark. So a lot of success last year. Hopefully they can improve on that this year.
Yeah, and the success on the field, of course. Then you saw off the field as well, something they take a lot of pride in. All those guys on the team with a GPA of above 3.
It's a huge accomplishment. These guys have all kinds of things going on from in-season, out-of-season, weightlifting, training. So to see that many members of your team putting in the work in the academic department is a great testament to the program that Coach Doran's built.
And that work has led to graduation rates rising 74% last year. It's risen in each of the last 4 years under Coach Doran. So this is a team that is trending upwards both on the field and off the field. And that's something we'll talk about at length today as part of that one pack, one goal mentality. Finley deep. This time he connects. Kelvin Harmon, who else, with a touchdown for NC State. 76 yards.
Man, saw that a bunch of times last year, and we're starting off the spring game with the exact same thing.
Working on Maurice Trowell, who is a converted wide receiver, making the change over to defensive back. But boy, that is a tough cover. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to name a couple of wide receivers better than number 3 for NC State.
The strength, the body control, really just an absolute offensive talent. Kelvin Harmon made so many big plays in 2017 and plenty more to come here in 2018.
Chris Dunn, the new freshman kicker, knocks in the PAT, and it's 7-0 NC State. Again, the points really not as important today. We're more interested in seeing, obviously, some new faces and telling some stories as well.
Absolutely. Plenty of new faces, guys on both sides of the ball that are really getting their first chance at live action. Guys that have come off a redshirt year. We've got some transfers, some new guys that have enrolled early. So many guys getting their first opportunity to true game action to show the coaches what they can do. So excited to see all those new faces today.
Matt McKay in at quarterback as they go the other way, and the handoff is to Aaron Collins. As we get a look at some of those familiar faces on the offensive side of the ball. The left side of the O-line, we're going to talk about the Band of Brothers a little later today. Tyler Jones, Big T, and Garrett Bradbury, they remain. And then Ryan Finley and a couple of big-time receivers as well. And really with Jacoby Myers and Emeka Amizi and C.J. Riley, you've got 5 receivers back as this pass is batted down.
Tons of playmakers on offense. Obviously losing Naheem, but there's so much talent left on the offensive side of the ball. Guys that have had real game experience.
That pass knocked down by Joseph Bolitapelli. They call him Bolt. He's a freshman from Wake Forest, North Carolina, an early enrollee. Played for NC State great Dwayne Washington at Heritage High School. So speaking of guys seeing their first snaps, he makes an impact early. And yes, there are flags in the spring game, and we get our first here.
I know, talking with a bunch of guys on staff, but especially Thunder, D'Antonio Burnett, head strength coach, he is fired up about Matt McKay, number 7, this quarterback we're seeing right now. Came in last year. I know he worked real hard in his redshirt year, put on some weight, really developed as an athlete, and from all accounts has had an absolute great spring so far. So excited to see what he can do today with some ball action.
On the bubble screen, it's defended well by the white shirts. And we hope to get a chance to talk to offensive coordinator Eli Drinkwitz a little bit later on in the broadcast, and that's a guy we definitely want to ask him about, right? Matt McKay.
Absolutely. A very talented guy, can make plays with his feet, but also from all accounts has really developed as a passer, worked on his accuracy. You got to feel good about having a guy that's able to come in and be a serviceable backup. You always see guys go down, guys get injured. You want to have another guy that's able to go in and at least manage the game for your team.
So this is how we're going to do punts here today. The normal punt coverage team will come in. However, it will not be booming off the right foot of A.J. Cole. Instead, it'll be whoever the quarterback is with an arm punt, quite literally.
Just like you used to play in the backyard. You throw that ball down there and there's a receiver that's ready to return it. I love it.
Jacoby Myers is back to receive this punt pass. And it's a little slippery out there. He's wrapped up.
About a 60-yard punt pass there, too.
So you get a look at the arm of McKay. Now we get a look at the returning starters, defense, special teams. Yes, the defense loses 8 starters from last year, but returns some key guys, especially in your area of expertise, in the secondary. And the returning starters, you see the special teams as well with the addition of Chris Dunn. So even though there's not as many familiar faces, there is certainly plenty of talent on the defensive side of the ball, and it's really exciting. Some of these guys that have been waiting in the wings, learning behind some of the guys that left for the NFL, now they get their shot.
Absolutely. And even on the defensive line, where we lost, everyone knows, so much talent last year, you still have guys like Darian Roseborough, guys like Andreas Bryant, that have had that game experience, that are plenty seasoned. So although not maybe returning starters in the literal sense, are very, very talented and very experienced coming back.
I don't think Ryan Finley liked how they were lined up. He'll burn a timeout.
Timeout, offense.
And that'll give us an opportunity maybe to talk about Ryan Finley a little bit more. Career 630 completion percentage. So 63% of his passes he's able to make a completion in his career, second to only Phillip Rivers. And guess what? He's not just, you know, a game manager, a guy that is going to be super accurate because he's not throwing downfield. I mean, this statistic proves it.
It does. Those shots downfield are ones that really change the game for an offense. And hopefully with all these returning weapons, those guys on the outside like Steph Lewis, like Kelvin Harmon, that number will just go up in 2018.
Yeah, anytime you can be in company with Phillip Rivers, or remember last year he had that streak, 339 passes without an interception, second to only Russell Wilson. You put yourself in the yardage situation with a guy you played with, Mike Glennon, as well. That's great company to be in.
There's no shortage of pro comparisons for Ryan Finley, so he's in good company, and he stacks up very well against guys that have gone on and are currently having very successful NFL careers.
Finley's handoff
Nakia
goes to
Robinson
number 24,
with that
Nakia
carry.
Robinson.
And Ryan Finley quite simply said, look, my goal in coming back, I'm really excited to play more college football. I want to lead this team. And his goal, obviously he has team-oriented goals, but individually he says, I just want to be the best quarterback in college football.
Well, I think it's absolutely an achievable goal. You see the numbers that he put up last year, and you talk about all the guys that are going to be back this year, that familiarity with Coach Drinkowitz and the offensive system. I don't think there's any reason why he can't be one of the best and one of the most productive passers in the NCAA.
Pass
Just
from
misses his
Finley
target
is
over the middle.
The intended receiver, number 11, Jacoby Myers.
And that brings up a 3rd and 9. Got to figure with these conditions, it's a good way to test this team. Got to be tough in these kind of situations, and honestly, this kind of setting, not nearly as much rainfall. But I think the last time I saw it this gray here at Carter-Finley was back in 2016 against Notre Dame, a game that was obviously sloppy, much worse conditions. Don't get me wrong, but a game in which NC State was able to prevail because they made fewer mistakes on a day where mistakes were. It was easy to make mistakes.
Much worse conditions maybe is a little understatement there.
Yeah, huge understatement.
We were in a hurricane.
Able to pick up that 3rd down conversion. This is a forward pass, just barely. Incomplete, intended for Jacoby Myers.
Second down, 10 to go.
Hand off to Robinson, who goes over the right side. Now, he's a guy from your backyard down in Miami, Florida.
That's right. Saw some YouTube highlights of this kid last year. Very excited to get some more Florida athletes up here. You can never have too many of those fast guys from South Florida.
Robinson redshirted last year. He's one of the running backs we're going to get to see today. Reggie Gillespie will not be playing. Ricky Person, a new freshman, will not be playing as well. So we're going to get to see a couple of new running backs for sure. Gillespie is actually the only guy on the roster that has taken a carry in an NC State uniform before. So Robinson, one of the guys, along with Aaron Collins and a couple others, getting a look. And now we'll get a look, as that pass is incomplete, we'll get a look at one pack, one goal, and what that really means to NC State players and coaches.
I came here and wanted to build something with our staff, with our players, and together formulate what fits NC State. And I think, you know, when you first get somewhere, you might think you know. It takes a while, and it takes a while to get the staff around you that really understands the culture you're trying to create, and it takes time to develop players into who you want them to truly be like.
Bring it up in here. Let's go. Bradbury, you got him.
I got one pack. Y'all got one goal. One pack.
One goal. See your coaches.
One pack, one goal is our mission statement of our program. Something that we built off of basically our mascot in the Wolfpack. And going back to the strength of our football team is going to be based on all the individuals of the pack working together, and it stands for a united mission to win a championship, and the unity not just in the locker room, but from the coaches down to the players to all the people that work with our players on a daily basis. Developing the player, the person, and the student, you know, is kind of the three things that we focus on daily. And I've always felt like if a young man is in a place off the field where he's making great progress in his life, if his academics are in order, if his personal life is in order, it's a lot easier for him to be great on the field. If he comes to us and he's worried about his eligibility, or he's worried about his girlfriend, or something going on off the field, sometimes his focus won't be where it needs to be. And so teaching them how to have great balance in their life, and also how to grow as a man so that they're ready for life after football. We tell them in recruiting, we're going to push them to be their best version of themselves they can be, and be ready for life with football and life without it. Every week in the off season, we have a leadership seminar. Basically, we call it Real World Wednesday, and we find one day a week to talk about things going on in the world, or bring a speaker in to talk to them. All kinds of topics, non-football related, and just trying to help them think outside the box and be ready for things that come their way. You know, like I tell them, I never want them in a situation or environment, if I can help it, where they don't understand the best way to react. And I think the biggest thing, all of us, you know, in this profession, there's choices and consequences, and to be a champion, to truly be a champion, you have to be a champion in life, and you have to make a lot of sacrifices to do that. The winning obviously is what you want at the end. You want to say you won games. But sitting there at pro day, or sitting there at graduation, or sitting there at a senior dinner and seeing just the growth in a person that you've been able to be a part of. And maybe I'm not the one coaching them day in and day out like his position coach, but I am the one that got that position coach to be in there and to formulate the plan and to keep people in place, and to help that thing continue to grow. I love watching those young 18-year-olds turn into 22-year-old people that are ready for the world. I love that, you know, and that to me it's the three-pronged growth, you know, as a player, as a person, as a student, watching all three of those phases in their life become full, and being a part of that process, that to me is the biggest win that I get.
Great feature there on one pack, one goal. Andrew Sanders, Brandon Bishop back with you here as the punt booms down to, well, inside the 25 before it's fielded. And, you know, building one pack, one goal, obviously when Dave Doran took over, he wanted to build this program, build a certain culture. And at this point, he's definitely done that. And guys, first you have to buy in. At this point, it has become much more than just a buy-in. It's a family atmosphere.
Yeah, as an alum of this program and this university, that's what you want to see. That's what you want out of a coach, is somebody that cares about his players, cares about the way that they're representing the university, and makes that an emphasis in his everyday and in their program. So something that I've seen Coach Doran do from the first time that he stepped foot on campus here, and something that as an alum I can say I'm proud of.
And while we will have some more features for you as well, we include that nice two-box shot so you can still see what's going on the field, as well as get informed from these features. Now we'll throw it down to the third member of our crew, Taylor Cunningham, who has more on One Pack, One Goal.
Thank you, Andrew. And like you guys said, the One Pack, One Goal mission statement for this program has been so special. But Coach Doran has also installed the Real World Wednesday, which is when he brings in guests from all over to talk with his team and give them real world scenarios on how to make them better players. One person expected to join the team coming up in June is the NFLPA, who's going to go over with the guys social media and how to handle that, as well as they'll have a dining etiquette course. So really special things. But I'd also like to highlight AJ Cole. He's going on service projects for the last 5 spring breaks. He spends time in Mountain Park Academy in Kenya, changing the lives over there in Africa. He's created relationships and really doing wonderful things using his NC State football platform to the fullest. And this year, he inspired one of the coaches, Aaron Henry, to go along with him, and they were doing really great things over there, helping all of those people over in Africa, guys.
Thank you, Taylor. And yeah, that's really a tremendous story for AJ Cole to really take time as a college student, obviously, and take his time and his money and go over those trips. And if you've seen the video, I mean, he has a really special connection with those kids over there. And when he walks into the school, you know, the kids are up and shouting AJ, AJ, and they're so excited to see him. And really, he just exemplifies that one pack, one goal mentality. Finley with a 15-yard pass. They'll move up to the 35-yard line. Even in the wet conditions, we've seen them take some deeper shots. This one's bottled up in the backfield, as Robinson is bowled over. Who else but Jermaine Pratt right in the middle of that tackle.
Jermaine Pratt's going to have to be the leader on this defense this year. A guy that last year was looked to as a nice playmaker, athletic, big, long guy that could add something, but really this year looking to him to make that transition into a real leader and rock for this unit.
Finley complete for a few yards to Steph Lewis. Yeah, Jermaine Pratt actually 4th on the team in tackles last year, despite technically not making any starts. Now, he got plenty of snaps. He was a kind of a starter in his own right, but technically no starts, and had really, for my money, you know, 2 of the biggest plays defensively last year. You think about the interception of the Heisman Trophy winner Lamar Jackson to seal that Louisville game. He also had an interception against Carolina at the end of this season. Had the blocked punt touchdown at Notre Dame as well. So when there was a big play to be made, Jermaine Pratt tended to make it last year. We'll now go back down to the field. TC's got more with Coach Kitchings.
That's right. I'm joined by Coach Kitchings. And Coach, one thing that's really important to you is you focus on getting talented guys into this program. But how important is it to get the right guys to fit this program?
That's always a point of emphasis, and we think we addressed that in this 2018 recruiting class. And we have a lot of recruits here today in the 2019-2020 class that we feel are high character guys as well.
What is that development process like, and how is it really important to take advantage of this spring ball to develop the guys?
That's very important. You know, we had a large senior class that graduated, and they were all part of our developmental program. To see now we have 7 guys at the NFL Combine, a projection of 10 guys to get drafted. So this part of the offseason with our strength and conditioning and the 15 spring practices is important for our future in the fall.
Well, despite the weather today, not the best conditions here, but how do you think things are looking on the field so far in this spring game?
Sloppy. You know, but the guys are competing. Hopefully we can get to a rhythm here on offense. I know we're one team, but the Reds got to get going.
Thanks, Coach.
No problem.
Thanks, TC. Got to hear from Coach Kitchings, who you really can't say enough about the job he has done bringing in talent year after year. You talk about, 10 guys maybe getting drafted, and that was mostly that first class, that Pac-14 class. Now, we get to see a very highly regarded Pac-18 class coming in, and a few of these guys have early enrolled. We've already seen Joseph Balatapelli today, as well as the kicker Chris Dunn, but there is more help on the way coming in the fall as well.
A lot of talent coming in. Coach Des Kitchings is one of those guys that's one of our absolute ace recruiters. He was a guy that was on the staff prior to Coach Doran when I played, and stayed on, and is just one of those guys that goes and gets talent every single year. As you can see, all kinds of talent coming in 2018.
Yeah, 6 4-star recruits and then 18 3-stars. So you get a ton of depth. And by the way, you know, recruiting rankings are great. Don't get me wrong, but you know, there's some guys like take maybe a Bradley Chubb that he was not a 4 or 5-star recruit guy. You had a great career at NC State. What was your star ranking?
3 stars. You find a lot of guys that start out as 3 stars and end up as 4 and 5 stars, and that's really what you want. You want staff that can go identify those guys that might not be the most heralded out of high school and then turn them into those guys that get NFL Combine invites, get a chance to play at the next level. And obviously this year, 7 guys going to the Combine, another few probably end up getting drafted as well. So obviously a great job by the staff identifying talent and developing talent as they go through this program.
Again, these punts not live. We will have live kickoffs. We saw one at the beginning part of the game. We will have a live kickoff at the start of the second half as well. By the way, that's Thayer Thomas, wide receiver, pulling in that punt, although I want to call it a return. Obviously, there is no return, but old habits, you know. So we'll get a look at Ryan Finley and this red team again. And, you know, conditions, as Coach Kitching said, overall it's been sloppy, but we've seen some nice throws from both Finley and McKay so far.
Absolutely, some shots downfield, obviously connected with Kelvin Harmon for the long touchdown, but great play out of both quarterbacks so far.
DeMonte Rim going in motion. Finley in the pistol. 4 wide receivers. The handoff is to Rim, and a nice run. DeMonte Rim, 5'11" running back. He's a redshirt junior, transferred from UNC Pembroke. He's got 2 years of eligibility remaining. And we were talking about Nakia Robinson's from your neck of the woods. He's from Miami. DeMonte Rim's from my hometown, Wendell, North Carolina. Went to Eastwake High School as well. Go Warriors. And a nice run for Rim.
You need guys that are going to hit the hole and get upfield just like that.
Hey, speaking of good running backs, Taylor Cunningham standing next to one right now.
That's right. I'm here with Nyheim Hines now. Nyheim, last year you were participating in this spring game. How different are things for you today being a spectator here?
It's crazy to be on the other side. I've been to some of the practices, and it's like the guys like Chubb and Tony and I, we're all joking that we're like just fans now. We're just trying to help the next guy get through and get to where we are.
You're a homegrown guy. You grew up right down the road. Why was it that NC State stood out to you and you wanted to come be a part of this family?
Just had a lot of offers, and the culture. Coach Doran showed the culture, and I think we'll have a lot of great culture, and we'll have a lot of great players as long as we hold our standards and hold everybody accountable.
That culture is one pack, one goal. How did you really buy into that message, and how did that help develop you as a player and a person?
Just great guys ahead of me. The senior class. Oh, good play. Okay, Jacoby.
What do you think happened right there?
Jacoby got active. Okay, but yeah, we just had a great senior leadership. The 2014 class was Coach Doran's first full class, and it's up to my class now, 2015, to show the younger guys how to work and how to earn what you get.
Well, you definitely showed them some stuff. Back to you guys.
Thank you.
Always great to hear from Nyheim Hines. That was a 37-yard completion to Jacoby Myers. We need to bring Nyheim up in the booth. I'll give him the headset. He can do my job. He can do play-by-play. That was a nice play for Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, Jacoby with the deep reception, 37-yard grab. The coverage by Stephen Griffin, you don't get much better than that. I know, talking to the staff, he's a guy transferred in from Tennessee.
Yeah.
He's going to play that nickel spot, can play some safety, bigger athlete, but a guy that this staff is really, really high on and has seen great things from so far, but a heck of a grab by Jacoby.
Nyheim Hines, of course, whoever picks him in the NFL is going to get a good one. And not just the speed, not just the hands, and obviously the running ability. He can play special teams for you as well, and just a high character guy. I remember when I first met him when he was still at Garner High School. I'm only a few years older than he is. He yes-sir'd me, made me feel real old right off the way. Just all the manners in the world to go with all the talent in the world. He is going to be a good one at the next level.
Well, it's really the versatility. You look, before last year, hadn't taken a real handoff out of the backfield, had really just been a slot receiver for us, and transitions to running back last year, and obviously has an outstanding season, but a guy that can really do it all. Fields punts, can return kickoffs, can play in the slot in the backfield, so obviously a bright future in the NFL, just a matter of where he's going to land now.
Obviously a player down right now. And looks like able to walk off under his own power, so that is a good sign here. And was it Tim K. Glass, number 34, who was down? One of the returning starters for the defense. Red team just outside the red zone here. And the give is to Aaron Collins. So we've talked about Rim a little bit. We've talked about Nakia Robinson. Here's a look at number 21, Aaron Collins, also a Florida guy, redshirt freshman from Tampa.
Well, Andrew, when you look at it, you almost always have to have 3 running backs.
No doubt.
So figuring out who those second and third guys are going to be for this team, obviously we'll have Reggie back. He's probably going to be your workhorse back, but who's that second guy that gets those handoffs, and then who's that third guy that sort of rounds out the group? You always need 3 good running backs, so a lot to play out here, but looks like there's definitely some talented guys.
And the catch is pulled in. Nice hands by Myers. And this is an accurate ball from Finley. Not an easy one to complete, and Myers helps his quarterback out.
Full extension in the rain. That's a tough catch right there.
Now, luckily today, you don't have to worry about what is a catch, what isn't a catch. I think that would have been upheld anyways.
Got 2 hands under it, secured the ball before he hit the ground. That's a catch all the way.
But yeah, luckily we don't have to worry about that today. Collins trying to bang his way over that left side. And that's where all the experience is with Tyler Jones and Tyrone Prescott, Garrett Bradbury, but there's Jermaine Pratt saying not this time.
He's going to have to be that active guy, sideline to sideline, tackle to tackle next year, that's cleaning up all the runs, and it looks like he was right there on that one.
I'm looking out of the bottom.
We've got a quick update for you. Breaking news here on the ACC Network Extra. We had planned that the second half was going to be a running clock, and I think maybe because of the conditions as well, they're going to move the second quarter, and the remaining quarters all will be running clock from now on.
It's not this play, it's the next one. I figured, I just don't want to open it up.
There's Coach Doran. We'll get a look now at a new quarterback as well. So far, we've seen Finley, we've seen Matt McKay. Now we get a look at Woody Cornwell.
I'm just shooting out of the bottom corner.
His first reps in the spring game. And right now we're seeing the defense really swarm into the ball.
On a day like this, you get a little bit of a soggy turf. You like to see the defense dominating. It makes it a little bit harder on the offense to pass the ball, and sometimes you can't get to the corner with a little bit of a wet ground, so you like to see the defense
just tell him
winning these
we'll
matchups.
This is Will Eason, nice stiff arm before he is wrapped up. Now Eason, a young man from Charlotte, a redshirt sophomore. He went to Mallard Creek High School, same high school as Jalen Samuels.
That's right. We like to see those guys getting multiple guys from some of those bigger programs around the state.
Did he learn that stiff arm from Jay Sam?
Let's hope so.
Because he had a mean one.
If we can find another Jay Sam, man, we'd be in good shape.
All he did was lead NC State all-time 3 receptions. With the quality of wide receivers that have played here, you know, Kelvin Harmon went over 1,000 yards last year, the first 1,000-yard receiver since Jericho Contry. You got a guy like Jericho Contry, a long NFL career. Wrapped it up with the Panthers, actually. So I was a big fan of that. Of course, you can't mention NC State wide receivers without, of course, Torrey Holt as well. So to have more catches than those guys, simply remarkable what he was able to do. And Kelvin Harmon, the next in line.
Absolutely. To see Jay Samuel, similar to Naheem Hines, where he really could score from any place on the field, inside the slot, outside, from the backfield. Just really an absolute playmaker, a guy that's going to have a long NFL career, and interesting to see what team's going to take him, how high he's going to go in this draft, and what kind of system he falls into.
And you know, that's really the question, is where does he fit? And I think that's one area where, you know, Eli Drinkwitz and this staff, they found creative ways to use a guy that really didn't have that many comparisons. You say, oh, well, who does he compare to at the next level? Well, it's hard to find that comparison, but that didn't mean that they just plugged him in one spot and left him there. You know, the creativity was there in the play calling throughout his career, and that's really obviously a lot of natural talent, but that also led to some of his success.
It's going to be the same conversation at the next level. What's the system that he gets into? Those New England Patriots, how they move guys around, Kansas City Chiefs, what Andy Reid does there.
Oh, absolutely.
Any team that has creativity on offense could really use a guy like him.
Finley at quarterback here, just 9 seconds left in this first quarter. It's really coming down here. All the fans are located underneath, and you don't see Kelvin Harmon drop too many balls. You can maybe attribute that to the downpour. All the fans are underneath the overhang right now on a day when, if you've ever wanted 50-yard line seats at Carter-Finley, you could get them here today.
Well, when you see the gloves come off, when receivers abandon those gloves, you know it's really coming down. We might have seen 1 or 2 of those from Kelvin Harmon last year, but that is a rarity.
Yeah, tremendous dedication from those fans to come out here today in a driving rainstorm and watch their team. Now we'll see how they handle this, because it's the end of the quarter, but there is a flag on the play. And we're not sure, because it's a spring game, they might just wave off this flag, or they might and call it the
flag
quarter.
on the play.
Personal foul. Clipping on the offense.
Well, there's
number
not one you
67.
see every day.
15-yard penalty. 3rd down.
You defensive guys hate that, so you like to see that penalty call.
Hey, we just want it fair. They throw enough on they throw enough on us. Let's keep it even.
So it looks like well, they will just go ahead and call the quarter. All right, so that'll take us to our break. We'll be back with second quarter action of the 2018 KYAL Spring Game after these words. Welcome back, everybody, to the KYAL Spring Game here at Carter-Finley Stadium. With NC State great Brandon Bishop, I'm Andrew Sanders. Taylor Cunningham joining us as well. We begin the second quarter. Ryan Finley is pressured, and we'll just get rid of this one. So in that first quarter, we saw a little bit of sloppy play, as you would expect, but the big touchdown to Kelvin Harmon breaking away, and that Finley to Harmon connection surely is going to be huge this year on the offensive side of the ball. And again, with running backs, we're getting to see several of them here today. If you missed the first quarter, Reggie Gillespie is the only NC State player with a carry under his belt entering the year. He figures to be the #1 guy. Ricky Person is one of those 4-star recruits, highly touted coming in. Would expect him to play a decent amount, but neither of them are going to play in this spring game, so you're really getting to see the depth of the running back position. We've already seen a couple of guys bust out some nice runs. So that's the situation on the offensive side of the ball. And then defensively, I'd say you guys have the advantage today, you guys being defensive players, when you can swarm to the ball in these kind of conditions.
These kind of conditions always favor the defense, and I think I always enjoyed playing on days like these, because normally the quarterback ends up throwing you a couple that he might not normally throw you on a nice sunny day. So defensive guys always on the lookout for turnovers, balls on the ground, sloppy play from the offense. But as a defensive back, these were days that I liked.
That punt, by the way, was from Trenton Gill, backup punter. We've got the diehard Wolfpack fans. It's a good day for a poncho, no doubt. And the temperature continues to drop. You know, it sounds silly to say, but I'll say it anyways. We're almost kind of fortunate to have this weather, because when we looked at the first forecast a week in the past, we're looking at, hey, it might snow during the spring game.
Snow in April. Unbelievable.
Play action for McKay, who's going to go up top. unable to hang on there is Thayer. Thayer Thomas.
Put it right on him.
Here's a look at the 2018 schedule, and it's never too early to start looking at this. So you open up with 3 home games, go up to West Virginia to take on Marshall and Huntington, and then the start to the ACC schedule also at home. So if we just focus in on that first half of the schedule real quick, it's home heavy and a chance for this team to really get off to a nice start, you would think.
You would think so. Week 3, West Virginia is going to be a big out-of-conference game.
Oh, yeah.
If you can get a win there against a quality out-of-conference opponent before you start dipping into ACC play with Virginia, Boston College, Clemson, getting to a 4-0 start out of the conference would be huge for this team in 2018.
Now, just reaching into the memory bank, because West Virginia is going to be that big game. Am I correct in remembering you with a big play the last time NC State played West Virginia?
Champs Sports Bowl down in Orlando, 2010. The last time that we, as a program, reached 9 wins.
Yeah.
We knocked off West Virginia down there in the Champs Sports game. Had an interception off of Geno Smith.
Picked off Geno Smith.
And yeah, we rolled to a pretty good victory that day.
There you go. Here comes the punt. And again, no return on these punts. I keep wanting to call them punt returns. I got to keep stopping myself. So possession will change here. And we'll go back down to the field with Taylor Cunningham.
Hey guys, I just wanted to touch on the storyline regarding Ryan Finley and Matt McKay's relationship. Coming into this season, everyone was so happy that Finley was going to return, having that veteran leadership. But during the offseason and last season, too, Matt McKay was named the Scout Team Player of the Year on offense because of his practice effort and the progress that he's made. He's really developed his leadership as well and has gotten improved in his accuracy. And one thing is that Finley has been a mentor to McKay in the film room and really wants the guys around him to be just as good as him. So it's really nice to see those two working together to get good things done on the field this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's always great when you can have older guys in the locker room really mentoring, tutoring, and really helping up. I mean, they don't call this QBU for nothing, right? Because you need some of that leadership from up top.
You absolutely do. And there was a chance that we weren't going to have Ryan back this year. Right. So you needed a guy that was going to be able to come in and play had he decided to take that leap. But that's really how you build a program. You get guys that come through, have success, and are willing and able to teach the guys that are going to come after them.
Kelvin Harmon working hard for extra yards.
Pass complete to number 3, Kelvin Harmon. Crosses the 40 to the 41-yard line.
Perfect. I'll let you know when he's over here.
As we get another look.
So much strength. You saw so many times in 2017 where Kelvin Harmon would bounce off a defender, yards after the catch, yards after initial contact. I expect to see much more of that from him this year, especially going through another offseason where he's only gotten stronger. Obviously talented, great hands, but such a physical receiver on the outside for the Pack.
So many of these receivers, big physical guys, and you bring up the strength and really, I have to look at, NC State's success last year. They dominated in the trenches, both on the offensive side and the defensive side of the ball. You really can't say enough about the job that Thunder Dan has done, D'Antonio Burnett. In the weight room, you get so many of these guys, some of these new faces that are maybe redshirt freshmen or redshirt sophomores. The stats on them is they put on, 20, 30, 40, sometimes 50 pounds. And part of that is nutrition, but a lot of that is the weight room, and that's one area where the Wolfpack are definitely winning.
It's no secret anymore how great of a job Thunder and this strength staff do to develop these players once we get them in and get them on campus after their recruits. I think most Pack fans by now have heard, oh, we got a long run.
Big long run for Nakia Robinson over the right side.
But I think most Pack fans are familiar with Thunder, D'Antonio Burnett, what he's been able to do with all of our guys that have come through his program. And it's really great to see these guys that come in as talented recruits, but end up continuing to develop as athletes and eventually get out on the field and make a big impact for the Pack.
Someone that NC State thinks will have a big impact this year. Taylor Cunningham now joined by the new coach, Ted Roof.
Okay. Coach Roof, I just want to talk with you a little bit about what it means to return to the Triangle area, somewhere that's really familiar for you and join this NC State program.
Yeah, it is. Just very excited about it, excited about the opportunity, excited to be a part of this program and this coaching staff and work with these players because their work ethic has been unbelievable, and just excited about helping to continue to build.
Why was it that you wanted to come to NC State, and what stood out about this program?
Well, at my age and this point in my career, it's all about the people and just the wonderful people here and these players and just the commitment to being excellent. And like I said, I'm very blessed and excited about the opportunity.
You have a ton of experience and knowledge that you bring to this program. Coach Dorn also said he wanted to use you as a sounding board for him as well as Coach Huxtable. What does that mean to you, and how do you want to affect a program in a positive way?
Well, you stay in your lane. And, you know, we're all a combination of our experiences. And, you know, my job is to try and make the other coaches' jobs easier and keep things off their desk. So that's what I do.
Well, we're glad to have you, and thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you.
And thank you to Taylor Cunningham as well. Great to hear from her, and great to hear, obviously, from the new coach, Ted Roof. And, you know, it's always great to add a guy with that much experience. He's been around the ACC, has held head coaching jobs as well. And to be able to keep the rest of the staff and keep that continuity and then add a guy like Coach Roof is just tremendous for the program.
Absolutely, Andrew. Anytime you can add a coach that's been around, that's been an ACC coordinator, who's had the experience that Coach Roof has had, add him to a staff with already accomplished coaches, he's definitely going to be an asset for the Pack.
The touchdown from Nakia Robinson, and here's Will Eason breaking out in a big way. Inside the 5, so the running back starting to show off. Robinson had that 32-yarder he busted open, and then the 12-yard touchdown. That's a 67-yard tug for Eason.
Oop.
Well, spin cycle.
A little spin, you like to see that. A move in the hole and then getting upfield. Great run by Eason after the touchdown we saw from Robinson. Some good things by these running backs early.
Eason, he will get the corner easily, and he scores a touchdown for NC State on that end of the field. 13-7 now. I know the score not all that important, but boy, how about the running backs? The nice spin move from Eason, and we saw that touchdown from Robinson. That was well blocked. The offensive line, I know they don't get enough credit. I'll try to give them a little bit here. That play was well blocked also.
Absolutely. Get to the edge, get around that last defender, and get in the zone.
What is it about these guys from Mallard Creek? They can just find their way in the end zone. I mean, that was a J-Sam specialty right there, and that looked a little bit like him. Yeah, get to the corner, the defense has no chance.
Looked very familiar.
Extra point. Kyle Bambar makes it 14-7. Well, they put it up on the scoreboard at least, but I'm not sure he made it actually.
There we go.
7:37 left here in the second quarter, and that is when the clock stops, and just did sneak it in there. It's a tough day for the long snapper there. There's 57, Tyler Griffiths, who's been a 4-year starter for the Wolfpack. Speaking of guys that don't get enough credit, 4-year starter. You know, has he ever made a mistake? I don't think so.
Hey,
but long snapper, that's a tough position, man.
Those guys, the only time you're hearing from them is when they do make a mistake.
Right.
So the less that you're hearing about 57, the better for the Wolfpack. But heck of a career to start for 4 years. Yeah. Come in and snap as a freshman. So
you think about the number of snaps that you have every game. We multiply that by a season, then times 4. And to do that with such precision and not make any mistakes, because you're right. I think you know, the offensive line talked about how it's a unique position, long snapping, really the same way, because you don't get a lot of credit, but you can get a lot of blame sometimes. But Tyler Griffiths has done a great job for NC State. His rim gets the carry over the right side. So Robinson, Eason, Rim, we've seen Aaron Collins as well. Really a mix of 4 running backs so far.
Again, all former Wolfpack football players, please begin to make your way to the top of section 214 in the south end zone.
The defense making plays. You know, we saw Dexter Wright with an interception earlier, I believe.
Ooh, great hit. Looks like Jarius Moorhead, number 31, coming down from the safety spot. Knocks it loose.
Jarius Moorhead, a guy who played very well last year. You're obviously much more of an expert on safety play than I am. What did you see from him last season?
A guy that was a consistent, reliable tackler, a guy that was good in coverage. Going back 2 years ago, we talk about that Notre Dame game here that was in a hurricane, had a game-changing interception against the Irish. So a guy that's been around for a couple years now, made some plays, and a guy that's going to have to step up this year and be a real leader for this defensive unit.
Second on the team last year with 80 tackles in total. So the offense will trot back out on the other side now, going towards the NC State end zone. And Woody Cornwell is the quarterback. We've seen Finley, obviously, McKay, now Cornwell. There'll be another quarterback entering camp in the fall, 4-star recruit Devin Leary, who's New Jersey's all-time leading passer. A lot of people are excited about him as well.
I think that last tackle was number 12, Raven Saunders, in the backfield right there. Another guy from South Florida, a guy that came in last year and developed a lot as a freshman. Hopefully we can see some of him this year at linebacker.
How about this play by Aaron Collins, able to hang on in the rain. A little juggling act right there, and then he lowered the shoulder, lowered the boom at the end of that play. Collins rushed for over 1,500 yards in high school out of Tampa. Cornwell with a good throw and a completion. He's got his man for a first down. That's Thayer Thomas.
That's a heck of a throw by Cornwell. That's one of the hardest throws that he's going to make on the field. And out from the opposite hash, puts it right in the perfect spot so that only Thomas could grab it. Heck of a throw.
Maybe a little bit of a busted play, and it is blown up in the backfield. And that's Isaiah Moore. He's a redshirt freshman, so a guy that Wolfpack fans have not really seen yet. He was the number 3 ranked outside linebacker in Virginia coming out of high school. Out of Chester, Virginia. He was also top 10 his class academically. Another completion for Cornwell.
Pass from Cornwell is complete.
Out to the right side. It's Max Fisher with the catch.
I'm impressed with the arm on this kid Cornwell. He's throwing it from the other hash each time, putting it out to the widest receiver.
Pass incomplete, intended for Thomas. The catch by Fisher right there. He's another redshirt freshman. And, you know, this is really, they're their first opportunity and fans' first opportunity to see some of these guys. And as Dave Doran has continued to build this program, that's what building a program is, where you have the luxury. You know, his first year, he really couldn't redshirt as many guys as he wanted to. Now, he's got a lot of talented guys like we're starting to see here who have had that redshirt year, have gotten the ability to learn, and now they're ready to go as second-year players.
Andrew, you come back as a completely different player that next spring if you have the opportunity to take that redshirt year. It's such a different experience in the fall, redshirting versus being in the mix, in the 2D, playing each week. The development that goes on in the fall for that redshirt group is just huge. So these guys that have the luxury of sitting down that year, I know a lot of guys coming out of high school that have been stars, they don't like to do that. It's a tough year for them, but you're so much better for it this year when you come back around to springtime and you're able to show that development.
So not only do you get, obviously, a very talented Pac-18 class, some good freshmen coming in, but also some guys you didn't see last year that were redshirting. Part of that 2017 class. A lot of excitement about them as well. C.J. Riley is wrapped up.
Great tackle in the open field. I think that's Stroll.
Absolutely.
Yep, made the transition offense to defense. Love seeing wide receivers convert to defensive back. Those are the guys that can catch the ball, those guys that can make plays, but also good to see him make that tackle in space.
How tough is that transition? I know that you didn't necessarily make that transition, but you guys go against the wide receivers every day, right? There's obviously some jawing back and forth. They tell you, like, hey, you couldn't do my job, and you tell them, no, you can't do mine.
Absolutely. That's always the conversation. Really, it comes down to contact. You know, those guys that are on offense aren't used to delivering the contact. They're used to they're used to getting hit. So you really got to find a guy that's willing to put his face mask in the mix and really isn't scared to hit.
Finley tries to put a little touch on this, and the double team came, and once again, it's Jarius Moorhead providing that contact, breaking up the pass.
Physical guy, is able to deliver, especially nowadays when they're taking the head out of the game, delivers that hit right in the spot that you want to see, right in the midsection. Doesn't go up high, especially on his own teammate. That's a great play by Jarius Moorhead.
So with Finley under center, red team unable to get anything going on this drive. A.J. Cole has handled the last couple of punts for the Wolfpack, as you would expect he will do in fall for the 4th straight year. One of the best punters in the ACC. You know, special teams is something that Coach Doran really takes pride in, and I think that's an area where this team has excelled over the last several years.
Absolutely. And really one of the big question marks for 2018 is who's going to be that returner? Who's going to be on the other end of those punts? Naheem did such a great job for us last year, doing both kickoff and punt returns for the most part. So who's going to be that guy that steps up and fills that spot this year?
Certainly no shortage of athletes on the team, no shortage of candidates. I think the first requirement as he's going for Amizi, and it's broken up nicely. Chris Ingram with the pass breakup. I think number one is going to be who's going to take care of the ball as a returner, right? Taking care of the ball, always a priority. Here defensively, what do you see?
What's good to see is a guy that doesn't panic. Chris Ingram goes up, makes the play right there. So many DBs, when they're in space, one-on-one like that, they panic a little bit and grab the receiver, but if they stay calm, they go up and make the play. It's just a great effort by Chris.
Pass is dropped on the near side of the field. Ingram, just a true sophomore. You know, he started the game at Wake Forest, so he saw some playing time. One of the few freshmen, in fact, the only true freshman to make a start on the defense last year, as veteran as that defense was. He's still a young player, though. How long did it take you to, you talk about not panicking? Was there a certain point where you reached a comfortability level?
Well, after you get out there as a true freshman and you get thrown into the fire, and that Wake Forest game last year was a fire for these guys. So getting that out of the way, getting that under your belt, you develop confidence in your second year. And even though he didn't have the luxury of a redshirt year, just getting that real game experience is going to be huge for him going into the fall.
The offenses have had more success driving this end of the field. NC State team up 14-7 again, trying to target Amizi, and once again broken up.
Looks like Ingram again out there by himself on the deep ball. Nice breakup.
A couple of guys that had big games at Wake Forest. Emeka Amizi had a nice touchdown catch. And that will end the half. 14-7 our score. So what are your thoughts for what we've seen of this first half of football? We've seen some nice offensive plays, some good play on the defensive side of the ball as well.
Yeah, seen some good things on both sides of the ball. A bunch of deep shots down the field from the quarterbacks, and also some nice runs by some of these younger running backs that are going to be fighting for a spot this fall. So overall, great play on both sides.
All right, Taylor Cunningham is standing by with the head coach of the Wolfpack.
Coach, I just want to get your first half thoughts on how the spring game's going, despite the weather, not the best conditions today.
No, but it gives us an opportunity to play in some adverse conditions, which is good, you know, and you can see how guys handle it. I do think we're throwing and catching decent, you know, and we haven't fumbled the ball yet. So those are positive things you're looking at. You know, it'll be a good second half. Get to see some guys now that we'll sub out and put some other guys in and be able to evaluate them.
Going into the second half and throughout the entire spring, what's been the goal that you've wanted your team to accomplish?
It's one day at a time. It's the same in the season. You just have certain goals each day you want to reach, assess where you're at as a player, have a plan as a position coach, and explain it to them the right way so they can improve each day that we're out here.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks a lot. Go Pack.
Halftime here at the K-Yow Spring Game. We'll be back in just a minute. Halftime here in Raleigh. NC State 14, Wolfpack 7 in the 2018 K-Yow Spring Game. And we'll bring you our second feature, this one discussing Ryan Finley with the offensive coordinator of the Wolfpack, Eli Drinkwitz.
Pack from the Clemson 40 following the State interception. Here's a three-man blitz, and Finley's hit as he throws, fires long, in Hartlett's down at the 5-yard line, into the end zone, touchdown State!
I had somebody close to me, you know, say they would do anything to play one more year of college football. So I kind of took that to heart. I just kind of want to cherish one more year, you know, with this group and these guys that I became close with. You know, honestly, I've improved in a lot of different areas of my life, on and off the field, and I think, you know, that's a token to, you know, some of the coaches we have here and just some of the guys we have that are a part of this program, this culture. You know, how much I've changed as a person. You know, kind of just the organization in all aspects of my life. And then as far as on the field, Coach Drinkwitz has had a big part in my development and just kind of continually learning and kind of progressing within the offense and getting to know, you know, our team and our guys on offense.
He's got confidence in himself, and no matter how things are going, he believes that he's got the ability to make a play, which allows him to shake off disappointments or mistakes and continue to move forward. He's got a great understanding of the game, very smart, knows what the defenses are doing, but I think his greatest strength is his accuracy. He's an extremely accurate and intelligent quarterback, and the thing I'm probably the most proud of him is his developed toughness over the last, you know, 3 years that I've known him, 4 years that I've known him. His toughness has continued to grow, not just physically, but mentally. And I think that's what's given him a chance to be an elite player.
I see it as just an amazing way to practice self-improvement. And I think so many different things about football correlate to real life. I love trying to find the balance between working and being great at football, but also finding a balance outside of your life. I love the times in my life when everything is going well on the outside, and I can see how that correlates to my performance on the field, and just make comparisons like that, and just continually try to better myself as far as my health, my physical health. And then, lastly, just the relationships that you build. I don't think there's many other settings and environments in life that you get to have the opportunity to, come to a building like this with 100 of your friends and teammates and get catered on and work on your body and work on your mind and work on your performance. I mean, it's pretty special, just the whole thing kind of encapsulated. So that's why I love football.
We welcome you back in the booth here in Carter-Finley Stadium. Andrew Sanders now joined by the offensive coordinator of the Wolfpack, Eli Drinkwitz. And Coach, is a pretty cool feature to get to watch there. Before we get into that and ask you questions about Ryan Finley, I'd like to ask you just your initial thoughts on what we saw in the first half of the spring game.
Well, it wasn't good enough running the football. We had too many third downs. I did like the big explosive plays that we had in the pass game, but we've got to be more consistent running the football, and we're trying to do that. Allow our backs. We've got some young backs. We've got to reestablish who we are running the football and trying to give them as many opportunities as they can. I do like the way Ryan's throwing the football, obviously in the conditions. Catches are just a little bit more difficult, but we look to be improved in the second half, but I do like the way we're playing with some tempo.
Your teams always play with tempo, as you mentioned, but they also have tremendous offensive balance.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes, I think, what was it, a couple years ago, it was like 6 or 7 yards, the difference between passing and rushing. I mean, some of that is play calling, definitely. Is most of it play calling? How do you get that kind of balance?
Well, for us, we are what we call a pro-tempo offense. We're pro schemes and tempo-based, and in order to be a good football team, you have to be balanced. It all starts with the run game, and then when you establish the line of scrimmage, it allows you to throw the ball vertically down the field, and that's really what the complement is. Once we establish the run game, those safeties come down in the box, and we create one-on-one matchups for Kelvin Harmon, for Steph Lewis, and for Jacoby Myers, and there's really nobody in the country we feel like can play those one-on-one matchups.
You've got such big physical receivers, and then also, I mean, just can you describe how big it is for Ryan Finley to come back?
Well, for us, if you have a quarterback, you've got a chance. And it's harder to be all ACC quarterback than it is to be drafted. And so for Ryan Finley to come back, not only with his leadership and not only with his skill set, you've got a guy that has so much experience in our offense. And he can take the young guys and teach them. One thing that I was so impressed with after that last third down, Ryan has Jacoby over there, and he's talking to him about what he saw and how to do that. And that's a big growth for us. And so we're very excited that he came back, and I know he's excited, and it's a good thing for Wolfpack Nation.
No doubt about it. Coach, thank you so much for the time.
No, thank you. Appreciate you.
All right. The second half is coming up next on the ACC Network Extra. Halftime is just about over here at the KYAL Spring Game as the team, I should say, makes its way back onto the field. Today it's split up between NC State and Wolfpack, but of course it is one team, one pack, one goal. Andrew Sanders and Brandon Bishop back with you here, high up in Vaughn Towers at Carter-Finley Stadium. We'll get a look now. If you missed the first half, here's what you missed. And the first highlight, of course, a 76-yard touchdown for Kelvin Harmon as he created separation.
No shortage of deep shots in the first half. Kelvin Harmon with the score. Plenty of pretty balls by both quarterbacks. It's good to see these receivers go out and get them. Really look for more of that in the second half.
See, a nice catch by Jacoby Myers, and then the run game as well. Nakia Robinson, the leading rusher in the first half, 6 carries for 79 yards and a touchdown.
Untouched right there, hit the hole, got upfield. Some really nice runs by both of these young running backs in the first half.
Will Eason breaking away, got it inside the 5 before he was run down. And Coach Drinkwitz, he said, we didn't run the ball quite as well as we would have liked to, but we did have some explosive plays, and they got into the end zone 3 times in total. Robinson, Eason, and Kelvin Harmon. Great feature on Ryan Finley as he discussed his growth, his transformation, just becoming a better overall player, a better person off the field as well.
I'd expect to see a lot less of Ryan Finley here in the second half. Some of these returning starters are going to get a chance to watch some of these young guys get an opportunity. A lot of these guys that are coming off redshirt years are going to see more action here in the last 2 quarters, and hopefully get a chance to see what the future is for some of these Pack.
And we're now joined in the booth for the 3rd quarter with Andrew Sanders, Brandon Bishop, and now we welcome in Tony Adams as well. Tony, thanks for taking the time to join us, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. How you guys doing?
Fantastic.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
And we're hanging in there here with this weather. So you didn't want to be down there by the field. You wanted to come up here with us as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would have been either place, but as soon as it started raining, I knew that I needed to be right here.
No doubt. We're glad you made that decision. So let me ask you first, I guess, about the Band of Brothers and what that really means and what that was like to be a part of.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where it's just, you know, you say Band of Brothers, you try to put a label on some, you know, relationships you have with family members or like friends, you know. But we really stood by Band of Brothers, something that we understood as we were all in it together, you know. It's a hard, offensive line is not one of the easiest positions. You know, it's not a lot of glory. You get blamed for a lot of things and this, that, and the third. But being able to do it with someone else who's going through the same things you are and then also being successful at it brought us even like closer, even off the field too. Like we ate together all the time, so we really had that kind of bond as we were brothers, all of us.
We've got a tremendous crew here working on this show, and they have actually put together, they tell me, some highlights from your playing career.
Uh-oh.
So I don't know if we've got some pancakes here or what.
I ain't never heard no highlights from me. Oh, that's a pretty good, that's a pretty nice place right there. Okay. Oh, okay, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they're not going to be too crazy. You know, you can't really see too many highlights from them.
That was a nice seal there. That was a big touchdown at Florida State. 4th quarter, if I remember. And there's a look at the 3 remaining guys.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler Jones, Big T, Garrett Bradbury.
Oh, yeah, man. Those are my dogs. We still live together. I still live with Big T and Garrett as we speak before our lease goes out. So we always have that bond. We're always going to have that bond with each other, be at each other's weddings. I don't know who's going to be the best man or whose. Hopefully all of us are going to be best men. But it's going to be nice. It's going to be dope.
That's fantastic. Now, you say you're still living together right now. Mm-hmm. You've obviously got some big plans, some big things you're working towards right now.
Absolutely.
What has that process been like as you're getting ready to play at the next level?
It's been very interesting. And, you know, being a part of this opportunity is just, you know, I'm beyond blessed. Just being able to be in those conversations, you know, and then talking to NFL teams, NFL owners, and NFL coaches. At first going out, I just came off of an injury, so it was a little hectic at first, but then I just made sure I rehabbed, kept my head down, and kept working. And after those, you know, after a month or 2, I was fine and ready to go, so I was able to perform a pro day. And then whatever happened throughout any of the development throughout this time, you know, it was just one of those things where everything fell perfectly into place. So I was able to work out for teams, you know, talk to certain teams. I had a good East-West Shrine game. And right now, just waiting, you know, just sticking to the process and keep my head down and keep working. And whatever happens, happens.
Tony, what is it like coming back after you've gone through that whole process? Seems like sort of the dust has settled now on pro day and workouts and all that stuff. What is it like seeing the game from up here for the first time? I know when I went through it, it was strange watching it from this angle, and you know, being a year removed from going through your last spring game. What's it like to be up here?
It is strange. I'm good I'm not in the rain, though, to be honest. But otherwise, from this perspective, it's kind of surreal because, you know, you still see some of the guys that you played with, and those guys, you know, they've been through a lot with you, and they're still doing it, but they're trying to get to where I am right now. Not trying to say I'm anywhere special or anything, but, you know, just being a part of this process. And then, you know, being what they're doing, and they're doing it at a high level, you know, they're going to keep being successful as a team. And so it's just different if you see it from this perspective. It's kind of cool, to be honest, you know, just to be one of those guys just to watch over them and see what's up a lot of times.
Emeka Emezie with a nice catch here and a somersault at the end to boot on a 16-yard reception. Now, you had a new offensive line coach in Dwayne Ledford. Mm-hmm. What was his impact on your game and on the Band of Brothers as a whole?
Absolutely, it was huge. You know, he brought a whole new mentality to us. You know what I mean? It was one of those things where we were always attacking. You know, speed off the ball, toughness, and finish. Those were our 3 words that we always wanted to implement in our play, and that's what he implemented in us, and it all made us a better group together also. So, you know, and then that outside zone play, every time I talk to an NFL team, they're like, man, you guys run the heck out of outside zone. I was like, yes, we do. You know what I'm saying? That's our bread and butter. So that's something that, you know, a lot of teams like, because that's not an easy play to run. But we run it so many times that we're able to be one of those teams that, you know, we're very effective and are good at it. So.
Tony, what is this that I hear? There was a budding tennis career at some point.
Yeah.
Early on, maybe going back to high school.
Yeah, man, going back to the age of 2, I played a little tennis. I've been playing since I was 2, and I was up in New England when I lived in Boston. I was ranked like in the top 20 for 14 and under. So yeah,
wow.
It was pretty dope. Yeah, it was pretty dope. That's something that nobody knows. Well, as I tell more and more people know. But it's something that's cool. Like, you wouldn't expect it.
Hey, I gotta imagine that footwork helps translate.
That's the one thing that it really helped me with. Shout out to my mom. You know, that's one person that really brought me into tennis. But I'm in love with it. I just talked to Michael Lippitz up there in the press box, and he was talking about how much he loves tennis. He played tennis at his mater. So me and him might have to go play. You know, I might have to beat up on him too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm a big tennis fan too, but I don't want any part of it.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying. Anybody who wants it can get it.
Hey, there's not a lot of 290, 300-pound tennis players running around, so that's an impressive feat.
Yeah, even when I played, you know, on the court, nobody would expect it. Like, no, there's no way. And then just the first couple points, it would be a whole totally different perspective.
It's all about the footwork.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Last year, you guys were tremendous at keeping Ryan Finley's jersey clean. Only 13 sacks allowed all year. I've always wanted to ask somebody this. At the next level, you could do your job 29 times in a row perfectly. The 30th time, it might be a coverage sack, right? And there's going to be a guy doing a sack dance. Are you prepared for that?
Yeah, that's something you have to prepare for as an offensive lineman. It's something that, you know, you got to be perfect every play, and sometimes you're not. But one thing that we do is just next play. You know, obviously, if you're perfect for those 29, if you think about those 29 being perfect, you're not going to do well the next one. If you feel like you did 10 bad plays out of those 29, you think about those 10 bad plays, the next one's still going to be bad. So that's something that we always focus on, this next play mentality, and understanding that anything can happen in any play because of that, you know.
Now, we know about the left side of the offensive line. Can you tell us in Wolfpack Nation maybe some guys that were behind you guys on the depth chart last year that are going to get an opportunity now, maybe some guys to look out for?
Absolutely. Josh Fett Jackson is here at right guard, and then Justin Witt is at right tackle.
Okay.
And those guys, man, they you know, being under our wing, being under our wing, mine and Will's, and also, you know, Garrett's doing a great job, and T's doing a great job, Tyler's doing a great job for guiding them in their leadership. Just being able to have us as, you know, mentors and telling them what to do, I think they're really coming along as players, and especially Coach Leffert just doing what he does, you know, being the coach that he is allowing them to be great players and have a lot of potential down the road.
We got a timeout here, and that'll give us an opportunity to show a little feature. We put together a little video here on the offensive line, the Band of Brothers, and really what that means.
If someone asks me what is the Band of Brothers, the first thing that comes to mind is family. Like, we're just more together, and we always depend on each other. Just like the O-line group, you just always have somebody to your left and right you have to depend on.
It symbolizes a lot of things: brotherhood, family. We look after each other, we joke with each other, we make fun of each other, we tell each other good job, try to hold each other accountable. Just being that tight-knit group, you know, being the closest group on the field at all times, because we have to play together. Like, it's not a position where an individual can play for himself. You have to play for the guy next to you.
It'd be a lot different to do this if I didn't really know the guy next to me. Offensive line is a unique position. You don't get a whole lot of glory, but you do get a lot of blame. I think communication in football is vital. I mean, everyone knows that at every position, in offensive line especially. But when I've been with Tyler and Big T for so long, like, we don't have to talk to each other to communicate. Like, we kind of know what to do. I don't have to tell them everything. They don't have to tell me everything. And you work so much faster with that. You can be off the ball a lot quicker. You know what you're doing. And I think just as a unit, it helps us play faster, play smarter, and just know what's going on out there.
We know each other's tendencies, so like on certain blocks, I'll know what T will do, or T will know what Garrett does, and so on down the line. And so that really helps when it's game time and when the bullets start flying. You're not out there thinking. You know what to do, and you know what your brother's gonna do.
My first guy here, it was just basically I'm just thinking about myself, you know, how I'm gonna perform. But as the time went on, just Coach Ledford bringing in the band of brothers helped you just realize that it's not only about you, it's about everyone around you. And it just makes you more mature, and it just gives you another outlook on life.
We have a lot of fun. We have fun even in the times where we're hurting and when we really don't want to be doing something, there's kind of joy and fun in that.
Oh, we have so much fun. There's a lot of different personalities in the Banner Brothers, so you never know what you're gonna get every day.
Watching each other on film, we try to laugh and nitpick at each other, just pick on little things to get through the day, make the day funny. It gets pretty funny sometimes.
I'm sure every position group's jealous of us. I mean, they don't have a slogan, they don't have T-shirts and stuff like that.
Well, trust to me is a big thing. If you don't have trust, you don't have anything. Like, you can go by a man's word, but a man's action shows more. And that's just what we embrace ourselves on, is trusting each other and one another, especially on the field where it's just you against everybody else.
And TC is standing by with Coach Ledford for more on the Band of Brothers.
Coach, we've got Tony Adams up in the booth talking about the brotherhood on this offensive line and the Band of Brothers specifically. What is that? Explain a little bit to our fans about that unity of the group.
We talk a lot about, you know, it's not a lot of guys that's related by blood, but through everything that they do with football and everything it entails, it brings them together like a brotherhood. And just in order to be as good as we can be, the tighter we are, the better we are.
How important is it for the guy lining up to each other to trust? How do you really instill that in the players that you're coaching on this team?
It's important because you want to know everything about that guy beside you. And the more stuff that we do with these guys outside of the MRF, the tighter they become as a group.
Today, I know you've gotten to look a little bit at the guys, some of the younger guys getting some reps today. What has really impressed you about what you've seen?
Just the effort and the attitude of those young guys, some of those guys that normally aren't in there, and just seeing those guys compete.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Always great to hear from Coach Ledford. So, Tony, what do you think about that feature that we just saw in the comments from Coach Ledford?
That was dope, man. I wish I was in it. You know, that was really cool. It's real special what we have here at NC State, because, you know, it's something that you got, in order to be a cohesive offensive line group, an elite offensive line group, you have to have that brotherhood and that love for each other, that trust for each other. And you can definitely see that in that display right there. It was really cool.
Now, Garrett Bradbury said, you know, every other position group is jealous of us.
Yeah.
There's kind of an old saying where I know you guys like to tell people that the offensive line, you guys are the most intelligent guys on the team. Is that true?
To me, yes. To other position groups, I don't know. The quarterbacks maybe have us, but there was one time we had the highest GPA, one of the highest GPAs. But if we're not the smartest, we're the funniest. I can put that on everything. I can put that on everything. Because if you know Big T and Tyler, if you know them, and if you're in the huddle with them, I promise you it'll be a comedy show, easily. That's cool, yeah.
Absolutely. I think you do better than a knock-knock joke or something. You got any stories that you could tell us?
Oh no, that's for the Band of Brothers only. Yeah.
Classified info. Tough conditions for this punt. Thomas makes the catch. And this Brandon, earlier I was talking to him about playing in these conditions, and he said, you know, as a defensive guy, we kind of like this. As an offensive line guy, you played, obviously, in the game against Notre Dame here at home a couple years ago. Do you like those conditions?
You know, it's offensive lineman conditions, you know what I mean? Like, one thing we pride ourselves on is being able to run the football. And I think that being in that situation to where it was literally a hurricane and we knew that we wasn't throwing it, we were going to be able to run the ball.
And the defense knew you were going to throw it in.
And that's true. And if you can do it successfully, that's just, you know, it just feels so much better in that aspect, you know, because you know that each team knows what's going on, and then just if you can execute, and then, you know, do better than the guy across from you and take it from his wheel. So that's what we were able to do in that game, because you can see that we were very effective running throughout the whole day, and, you know, we just took a lot of pride in that.
You said taking his will. You mentioned taking his will, Tony, and I got to imagine that's an incredible feeling. When the guy lined up across from you, it's a one-on-one matchup. He knows what you're going to do, but you're still able to dominate them. You're still able to impose your will. You're still able to run the ball when the defense knows that's coming. On a day like this, where now the rain is literally coming in sideways, not quite what you saw 2 years ago against Notre Dame, but I got to imagine when the defensive lineman knows exactly what you're about to do, fire off, run block, and you're still able to move that line of scrimmage, that's got to be a pretty incredible thing.
Oh yeah, that's what's fun for us. You know, we don't get to catch balls and and have cool touchdown dances. You know, even though we can't do it in college. You know, it'd be cool to have one, but it's something that we take a lot of pride in as a group and as a unit. You know, it's to be able to dominate. You know, just be that dominant factor of the team, and then have the team rely on us. You know, and definitely be one of those position groups that everybody wants to emulate or everybody respects, because we can handle what we need to handle in certain situations.
You know, next year in the NFL, maybe you won't be the one scoring the touchdown, but you can certainly use that sense of humor into planning the touchdown celebration.
Oh, yeah, it's coming too. Like the creative, like I'm gonna ask my boys right down here too, you know, with some good ideas. But I have some up in my sleeve.
Yeah.
That, you know, you have to wait for it.
Are you like Naheem? You play Fortnite?
Oh yes, I don't mean to.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he put me on.
Put the bandages on.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
That is a great. That is wonderful. Yeah, that is.
Just in the end zone.
Hey,
you know?
Copyright. Make sure you copyright it, because I'm gonna take it. Okay, I promise you, I'm gonna take it.
I hope I see that in
There's
an
a couple
NFL
things.
end zone next year.
There's a couple things you can do in Fortnite for touchdown dances.
Oh yeah.
You can do the actual dance, or there's a few dancers. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
I'm just throwing out an idea just to give you.
Oh no, I'm taking
extra.
it. I'm sorry, I apologize. Yeah, I'm gonna shout you out, but just know it's mine for now.
Glad to hear that. Well, that wraps up the quarter. And Tony, thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah.
Tony Adams joining us in the booth. We'll be right back from Raleigh. We're back from break here in the fourth quarter, and don't be alarmed. I know the clock is running. They moved it to a 12-minute fourth quarter here as the temperature continues to drop and the rain continues to fall. So they actually got the fourth quarter started off a little bit early and adjusted the time. So don't worry, you didn't miss 5 minutes of action. Andrew Sanders and Brandon Bishop back with you here from Carter-Finley Stadium. Great to have Tony Adams in the booth, you know, giving us some knowledge on what the Band of Brothers is all about.
He was awesome. Tony, I've had the chance to meet him a few times, but really, really smart guy. Got a bright future. Almost surely will be an NFL draft pick somewhere in the later rounds here in a few weeks. So really good to talk to him.
New quarterback is number 12, Jory Perkins. Perkins is a redshirt freshman from Sanford, North Carolina. He went to Lee County High School.
Lee County High School. We had a quarterback from Lee County High School. Shout out to Dan Emhoff. Might be listening today.
Perkins seeing some time here. Drops back. And a big hit. And now we have Taylor Cunningham, who's got a couple of very special guests with him.
I'm here with BJ Hill and Justin Jones. And guys, I got to talk to you about how different it is being here today, not participating in this game. Is it a little different for you this time around?
Yeah, it is. Going to watch them practice this week and last week, it's just weird not being out here with the guys and jumping around and making plays with them.
Justin, I know it's raining a little bit today, getting a little cold out here, but do you wish you were out on that field padded up?
Part of me does, and the other part of me wishes I was back at the house because it's freezing right now.
Well, we're glad to have you both out here supporting these guys here today, but getting to see the reps that they're taking, how excited are you that what they have to come in this future, the 2018 season?
I'm excited for the young guys that get way more reps now, and I can see them improving each day.
Both of you guys are going through an exciting process in your life. Take us through that and how it's been getting ready for the NFL.
I mean, just, you know, waking up every day and just training and working hard. You know, obviously I trained with BJ back in Atlanta, so it's almost like we're not missing a step. You know, just waking up, just like when we was here at NC State with Coach Thunder and his workout program, it's pretty much the same thing, same attitude, just going up, getting ready with the work.
And one pack, one goal has been the mission statement for this team. How has that developed you, BJ, to get ready for the process to become a better player and a person?
That's what all NC State is about. One pack, one goal. Come together and play together and win the championship.
Thank you so much, guys, and best of luck.
So we had Tony Adams, B.J. Hill, Justin Jones, some guys that are going to be playing in the NFL next year. And, you know, we really haven't been able to touch on the defensive line as much. Last year's defensive line, no doubt, best D-line in the country. You got Bradley Chubb, who is going to be a top pick in the draft. And then I know you're big on Twitter. I am as well. I saw so much buzz around B.J. Hill and Justin Jones, Contavious Street, who unfortunately picked up an injury just the other day. But people realizing across the country, oh, we knew about Bradley Chubb. We didn't realize how good these other guys are and how well developed they were on the D-line.
Absolutely. These guys, once they got into this offseason part where they were going to the All-Star games, they were doing workouts at the Combine, a lot of people started paying attention to these other guys.
Yeah.
And there's a good chance all four of them will get drafted, even with Street going through the unfortunate incident this last week where it looks like he may be injured. Still a good chance all four of those guys are NFL draft picks.
Another guy that's going to get drafted, Taylor Cunningham, now joined by the one and only Jalen Samuels.
Yeah, Jalen, I just talked with two of your teammates that are here as well at the spring game today, but for you to be here and watching these guys, how much does it mean to you not being on the field with them but getting to watch them?
I mean, it's just weird, you know, not being out here, but, you know, just seeing a lot of guys, a lot of young guys out here now, you know, making these plays, you know, out here in this terrible weather, but it's fun, you know, it's fun to be back, you know, back in Raleigh and see these guys.
You're homegrown, grew up in North Carolina. When it came to making the decision to come to NC State, what went into that, and why did you want to be a part of this program?
I mean, it was a great, you know, it was a great school. It was a great opportunity for me and my family. You know, I felt like, you know, NC State was my best decision. So, you know, I went with there, you know, came up here, took a lot of visits, and I just loved it. You know, I fell in love with it, and then, you know, I went with that.
And you had a lot of success during your time playing here for NC State, but now you're moving on to the next process of becoming an NFL player. How is that going for you? Take us through what you've been working on in this offseason.
I mean, it's fun. You know, it's just the process that I'm going through. It's fun, you know, being able to, you know, wake up every morning and go work out, you know, with a couple guys, you know, training for the draft or whatnot. You know, meet a lot of new coaches, GMs, you know, have different workouts. So, I mean, it's been a pretty fun experience, you know, just taking it all at one time.
You saw that nice run right there. Give me your thoughts on how they're looking out here today.
They're looking pretty good. I'm seeing a couple deep balls, you know, jet sweeps and whatnot. So they're looking pretty good.
Awesome. Thank you, Jalen, and best of luck to you.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course, the jet sweep catches Jay Sam's eye. Nobody ran it better than Jay Sam.
That's right. If we can find another one that gets to the corner like he did, we'll be in good shape.
It was a 49-yard run, by the way, for Nakia Robinson as Eason goes outside. Here's another look. Robinson shaking loose. Now, Tony Adams might be impressed by this block by the official.
That's right. That's some nice vision by the running back there, Robinson, to get through the hole and then make the cutback. But it helps when those guys in stripes are also leading the way for you.
And luckily, the official seems to be just fine. You know, we shouted out the fans earlier for coming out here in these conditions. Obviously, Coach Doran was fine with it. He said it gives us an opportunity to play and deal with some adversity. But the officials out here, obviously, in tough conditions, doing a nice job. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our great crew who's out there. Obviously, our camera operators and everyone that we have out there bringing you these pictures in these conditions all around. They have done a tremendous job here today in less than ideal weather. Got a break in the action here. Red team knocking on the door, driving from right to left. We'll see if Matt McKay and the offense can punch it in here, if the defense will stand up. Get a running clock here in the second half, and really, because of conditions, we shortened the game up a little bit in the second quarter and here in the fourth quarter as well. From the pistol, the handoff goes to Eason, and he's into the end zone for the second time today. Will Eason. Touchdown for the Mallard Creek product. And now we'll go down to the field again. Taylor Cunningham standing by with Ryan Finley.
Special guest joining me now is Ryan Finley. And Ryan, not the best weather conditions today, but you guys are still coming out here playing hard for this spring game. What has been most impressive to you of what you've accomplished today?
Yeah, you know, it's definitely been a fun way to end the spring. Obviously, 2 years ago, playing against Notre Dame at home in that weather, you know, a lot of these older guys have some practice in this kind of stuff, and that's a great thing about football. Rain or shine, we play, and it's been awesome to get out here and compete.
The big talk coming into this season was that you were going to return for the 2018 season. What went into that decision, and really why you wanted to continue your career and build off of last year's success?
I just really want to come back and enjoy one more season with, you know, these guys that I've gotten so close to with the band of brothers, and just the talent we have at the wide receiver position, and just the coaching staff all deciding to stay was a big part, and just, you know, came here to, you know, one pack, one goal, win an ACC championship, and just looking forward to it.
That's what it's been all about, that one pack, one goal. But for you, what do you want this team to accomplish besides winning an ACC championship individually? Is there any growth that you want to really build upon?
No, I think, you know, all our goals are team goals, and I think we have high expectations, just the way this program and this culture has grown over the last 4 or 5 years, and just excited with the way things are moving right now, and fun way to cap off the spring.
Big things to come for you guys. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thanks, TC. Hearing from Ryan Finley. Man, he's from Phoenix, Arizona, so in April, he's not used to this.
No. This is not what you expect in the middle of April for your spring game. We've got refs slipping, we've got players slipping. It's really coming down.
But it has been great to see the guys have the pads on today, get a look at the 2018 NC State football team, because unfortunately, we're a long ways from September. And we showed you the schedule a little bit earlier, but September 1st, circle it on your calendar. I'm sure many of you watching already have it. James Madison, you open up against a really, really good FCS team. Of course, the game against West Virginia on September 15th as well. Big home game on November 3rd against Florida State. And then a Thursday night game, November 8th against Wake Forest. Those are some of the games here at Carter-Finley that really stand out to me. And really just looking forward to September 1st.
Used to love those Thursday night games. Nothing like getting the lights on in here, getting the students packed in here loud. It'll be a good one in November against the Deeks.
This should be the last play of the spring game. Why not go up top? Cornwell can't connect, and we do have the clock at 000 now. So Brandon, we saw 4 quarters of actions. The guys put the pads on. We saw some hitting, saw some touchdowns. What are your thoughts what we saw today out here at the spring game?
Saw some good things on both sides of the ball, some deep shots that were connected in the first half. Saw the long touchdown to start the game, Kelvin Harmon. And then saw some young running backs really do some good things, break some long runs, get in the end zone. So really promising. It's going to be interesting to see how things shake out come fall, but a lot of promise today here for the spring game.
All right, so that'll do it for our broadcast here in Raleigh. Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to put a score on it, it's NC State 21, Wolfpack 10, but it's one pack, one goal, the winner here today at the 2018 KYOW Spring Game. For Taylor Cunningham, Brandon Bishop, I'm Andrew Sanders saying so long from Raleigh.